All right, welcome to the Midweek Breakdown. I'm Brandon Stevens, here with Dalton Miller. Dalton, NCAA basketball is over. Cinderella did not find her slipper this year. It totally went by the wayside, which the second time only that 4 number 1 seeds have made the Final Four. What is your take on the whole tournament?
Obviously, I thought it was a great tournament. The ones that love the Cinderella story were frustrated with the fact that there weren't these huge upsets. I mean, you saw a couple in the first round. Obviously, Drake beating Missouri in the first round was a good upset. You had Colorado State moving on to the second round, almost beating Maryland and getting to the Sweet 16. McNeese State had a nice first round win. So you got some of those like almost Cinderellas, right? You get some 12 seeds winning those first round games, but I loved it. I thought that having all 4 number 1s just meant that you had the 4 best teams, right, in the Final Four. The Final Fours were really great games. Disappointed that Duke lost, but it's interesting that Duke lost in the same way that Houston ended up losing to Florida. So just giving it up there at the end, had a 12-point lead. But yeah, I loved the tournament. I think that having all 4 number 1s meant really, really good basketball late in the tournament.
What did you think of the game last night? I know we were texting a little bit in it, and my overall opinion was I hated that the referees set the tone in the first half by letting them play. And then in the second half, it was bam, 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 foul, 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 foul.
Yeah. I remember telling you that I was frustrated because I knew it was coming. Like the way they were just letting everything go. You just know the course of a game. Once it starts to get crunch time, the refs are going to start to tighten up and have the whistle more. But they didn't wait. I remember talking about that, and it was 5 fouls right away in the first 2 minutes of the second half. And it was just whistle after whistle after that. You had a really weak bench tech on Florida. Yeah, I did not appreciate how the refs inserted themselves in the second half. Take them out, though, we obviously still had a photo finish. I mean, it was a great finish.
We did. I hated the fact that in the last 3 possessions for Houston, they did not attempt one shot.
Yeah.
2 turnovers, and then the fumble on the last play, of the game where – is it Roberts? Is that the big guy?
Roberts is the big guy, yeah.
Who had the ball and jumped and had to let it go and kind of stood there like,
I think it was the guard that
I thought it was the big guy.
Because it was a 3-point shot, and he's the same one. It was Sharp. He's the same one right, who dribbled off. So he had the 2 turnovers at the very end of the game. But Houston didn't even get a look at the basket. Nothing was downhill. I mean, Sharp in the first turnover was at least going downhill. It was just too late and almost felt like he was just trying to create something at that point. But just a rough last 3 possessions for Houston.
Man, for me, I was disappointed because being an OU guy through and through, and remembering Kelvin Sampson's days here, and not liking the fact that he got in trouble for stupid stuff and ended up getting let go, or however you want to term it. I was really hoping for him and Kelvin Sampson and Hollis Price, some of those guys that are on his coaching staff, we're really going to get a win last night. And just seeing Kelvin Sampson's just blank stare off into the distance when that game hit 0, and I just felt so bad for him. I was really cheering for Houston. Let me ask you a question. Let's go back to the whole tournament overall. Let me phrase it this way. Do you think that with the NIL and the transfer portal that there's ever really going to be a Cinderella make a long run again? Because my thoughts on it are, if all these bigger basketball schools and these richer basketball schools that have all the money can just buy the best players, then these small schools like a Florida Gulf Coast, we've seen them recently, a couple teams like that just aren't going to be given the opportunity, in my opinion, to get to where they need to be able to make long runs in the tournament. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I don't want to say never, just because if you get a team like
Sure.
just if you get the team that has a ton of freshmen in and they're going for, they don't have a ton of transfers, they're young, that's those teams that I could still see getting upset. And of course you're gonna see upsets. I mean, Missouri spent all the money in the world in the transfer portal this year just to lose first round. So you had a really good SEC team get knocked out by Drake in the first round. And so I do think, though, that it limits Cinderella chances, because what's going to happen is I'm using Drake as an example in this because they did probably have the biggest upset in the tournament and almost beat Texas Tech as well. And so, but they had a kid named Sturtz, right? Sturtz is their best player, goes off for 21 points in a really slowed down, methodical game for Drake. He's more than likely going to end up at a Power 5 now.
Sure.
So it's really hard. All those mid-majors, low majors that could have a Cinderella run, you got to re-recruit your players and you got to have money to keep them, because the ones that do show out in the tournament are going to end up somewhere else. I mean, it was still like second week of March Madness and there was over 1,000 players already in the portal.
Yeah.
So the transfer portal, NIL, that just makes Cinderella runs even harder.
My thought is there's probably still going to be some upsets in the first week.
Yeah.
Getting to the Sweet 16 maybe, but I just don't feel like those teams can necessarily put a long run together. They may be able to put one or two teams together, but on a consistent basis, I don't think we're going to see it very often. Not that we're going to get all four number ones to the Final Four every year. That's not what I'm saying, because
sure.
I mean, there were really 8 teams that really had a solid chance of making the Final Four before the tournament even started. And 4 of those teams did it. I mean, it was almost like my office pool. 2 people won the office pool, or first and second in the office pool. Let's say this just basically went chalk, except one of them picked Florida to beat Auburn and Florida to beat Duke in the championship. So they ended up winning because they ended up with the eventual champion. But other than that, they just went completely chalk. I'm not a big fan of the NIL and transfer portal, like has been well documented on this podcast. They're just not – I just don't feel like they go hand in hand together. That being said, I just think the big-time Cinderella runs are probably over.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants to play for a team that can win a national championship.
Yep.
So that's where they want to go. And to do that, you're going to have to be in one of those top 8 to 10 schools for a chance at a run anymore.
Paying you $1 million in a season to come play, you're going to be more likely to go there than you are somewhere that's giving you $100,000.
Well, and think about it. Dusty May, who just led 2 years ago Florida Atlantic to a national champion. I can't remember if they won or if they lost in the finals, but
they lost in the finals to Villanova, right?
So then what did he do? He takes the Michigan job. It's not, I mean, so now Florida Atlantic, you're not going to be as good. And obviously they need to make the tournament this year. So it's like, it's not just players. The coaches want to now get to a spot where you have the NIL money, where you have a chance at going on runs, because getting to the tournament, I mean, Drake coach, I'm pretty sure just took the Iowa job. So Drake upsets, gets a tournament win, and then their coach leaves for Iowa. Now their best player is probably going to follow. I mean, it's just really hard now for Cinderellas to make Sweet 16, Elite 8, a Final Four anymore, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. It is that week of the year that I know you and I both look forward to and really enjoy, taking place in Augusta, Georgia, the Masters. It is Masters week. Happy Masters. What is today? Monday? Happy Masters Monday. Happy Masters Tuesday.
There we go.
Happy Masters Tuesday. Did you see that? How pissed off a bunch of the patrons were yesterday because it had been so wet, and the Masters came out and said, we're not letting any spectators on the course during Monday's practice rounds.
I didn't see that.
It was a big deal because, I mean, you can get tickets to the practice rounds fairly easy. Getting tickets to the tournament is hard, but you can get tickets to the practice round fairly easy, but they're still not cheap. And you're spending flight money and hotel money and Airbnb money, food money, all that kind of stuff. And all these people are going for Monday, Tuesday practice rounds or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice rounds. And then you can't get out there on Monday. They're not letting anybody on the course besides the players yesterday because it had been so wet and they didn't want them tearing up the course.
Well, it is like –
oh, I think I lost your voice. We're going to do something here that we talked about earlier in the day. We'll see if your voice comes back. We're going to do something we talked about. Oh, I got you. You're back now. We're going to pick 4 winners, but we're going to pick 4 winners of this week's tournament from 4 different categories. So here's the 4 categories: a past winner, a non-American winner, a player outside the top 10, and a player outside the top 50. So we'll call that the long shot. Okay. Can't pick the same player in 2 different categories. And we also made the caveat that you couldn't pick Scotty Scheffler for one and Rory McIlroy for the other one, because they're obviously the top 2 odds to win the tournament this week. I'll let you go first, and I'll let you pick your category first.
Yeah, I'll just start with past winner. As I was looking at who I really thought had a chance as past winners, until he's really knocked off from his stage and where he's at, I got to go with Scotty. I mean, even more than Rory, as somebody that makes any of these categories, even though Rory's playing really well, I just think Scotty checks the boxes, and he's just in the FedEx right now. He's only in 10th place, which I know is not to his standards. He's got a top 9 finish, a 3rd place finish, an 11th place, and then he just finished 2nd at the Texas Children's. And so I think Scotty's having your last tournament before the Masters, finishing 2nd, gives you some momentum going into the Masters. And he's been here before. He knows how to do it. He's a 2-time champ, I believe. He won, then lost, then won.
Yes.
My past winner would be Scotty.
Ditto. I mean, until somebody knocks him off his perch, I don't feel like I can not pick him.
Yeah.
Like he's been so good. And number 1 player in the world for a reason. Number 1 odds to win the tournament for a reason. We're going to go to what I'm going to call question number 2, which is a non-American. I'm going to go first this time.
Yeah, go for it.
For my non-American, I think I'm going to go Ludwig Aberg.
Good pick.
Is that who you picked too?
No, but he was on my list.
The dude he's just been solid, and he kind of drives me crazy. Just some of his mannerisms and stuff kind of bother me, but I think Ludwig Aberg has a really good chance to win it. And if I hadn't picked Scotty, I would have picked Rory for this one, obviously. But we said we couldn't pick both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I had picked somebody else as my past winner to win, that's what I would have gone with. But I'm going Ludwig Aberg on my non-American winner.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to go to Ireland. I'm going to rock with Shane Lowry. Missed the cut his very first tournament in the PGA this year, and since then he's got a 2nd place finish, an 11th place, 7th, a top 20, and then a tied for 8th at the Valspar Championship. He's hit or miss on when he can put 4 days together of being well, but he's number 13 in the world right now, playing pretty good golf. Obviously, we couldn't pick Rory for this one, like we said. So, I like Shane as my non-American winner on this one.
All right, so you're gonna go first on this one, and we're gonna go a player outside the top 10.
All right, yeah, I like this one, and this is a player that I've been watching the last couple of years and just really enjoy his game. Akshay Bhatia. I'm not sure if you've watched him a ton, but he's not in the top 10. He's number 20 in the FedEx Cup right now, and he's just got a smooth game. He's got a tied for ninth finish, a ninth place finish, a third place finish, and he's missed 2 cuts. And so he just missed the cut. I think that he's probably going to have some motivation. And so I don't know. He's just got this like lefty stroke. Doesn't seem to get phased when he hits bad shots. Like he typically finds ways to bounce back. He's got, I believe it's 3 top 10 finishes, doesn't have a win yet. So I watched him last year in a couple playoffs on the PGA Tour where he was just so close to getting that first win. So outside the top 10, I like Akshay.
All right. My player outside the top 10 is going to be Keegan Bradley. Currently ranked, I think, what is it, 14th? Currently ranked 15th. He's been playing pretty decent this year, doesn't have any wins, but he's been in the top 10 a couple of times, been in the top 15 several times. I mean, he's already won over $300,000 this year. Had a really good showing at the Sony Open in Hawaii early on in the year. And then at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, he was tied for 5th at 7 under. He's not super long, but he seems to be pretty straight. Sometimes his approach shots and his putts can get a little wiry, I guess, a little haywire. But I'm going to take Keegan Bradley for my player outside the top 10. Now, for my player outside the top 50, my long shot is actually a player that's won the Masters. I'm going Jordan Spieth outside the top 50. Jordan Spieth is ranked. What was he ranked? It was quite a ways out. I don't even remember. He has not been playing good as of late. But I figured for a long shot, Jordan Spieth can really do something. He's had a couple of top 10s this year. He's missed the cut once. That was early on in the season. A couple of top 10s. Had a tie for 12th last week at the Valero Open in San Antonio at the Oaks course. I just like Jordan Spieth. I like his game. He's long enough, and if he can control his drives, his short game and his putter are electric. And if he gets that putter rolling, there's no telling what he can do in this tournament. Interesting. In 2 of the last 4 Masters, he's been tied for 4th and tied for 5th. And the other 2, he missed the cut. So we'll see what happens. First day is going to be big. I think this could be completely wrong, but on the way home from work, I was listening to the radio and they were talking about it, and not Jordan Spieth in particular. But I think what they said was 7 of the last 10 winners have gone early on Thursday and afternoon on Friday. And I think that's where Jordan Spieth's at this week. So we'll see if that's the case. Go out early on Thursday, you get the perfect greens. Nobody's touched them, And then on Friday, you get to see how the course has changed by watching the morning rounds going into your afternoon round. And you get that afternoon round, you can see what the wind's doing. You can see how the course has changed a little bit from Thursday when you played. If you can get out there and post a 4 or 5 under on day 1, you have a really good chance to win this thing.
Yeah, I like Jordan Spieth's game too.
Who is your
my long shot's also a guy who's won the Masters, and he's 80th in the world right now. Left the PGA in 24 to go to LIV. I'm going with Jon Rahm. Currently third in the LIV standings, playing some pretty good golf. He's the team captain for Legion there, and the PGA is easier to watch. Like, it's just easier access, easier to watch. But I do watch LIV on their app at times, and so I like his game, and just the fact that he's been there before. 2 years ago, he was able to get the green jacket, I think that he's going to have an opportunity once again to do it. It's not going to be easy, and he's not. I mean, like I said, 80th in the world right now. So there's a lot of players playing better golf than him. So he's going to have to put together, one of his best 4 rounds. But all you got to do in this tournament really is you got to give yourself a chance late. I mean, we've seen comebacks on Saturday and Sunday. So just play good enough to get.
The saying on the PGA Tour is the tournament doesn't start until the afternoon on Sunday. So if you can just keep yourself in it until the afternoon on Sunday, there's no telling what happens.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'll be ready to go Thursday morning. So.
Yeah, I will too. I'm gonna have to inconspicuously watch from work. I'll have the Masters app downloaded and be watching on the Masters app. Find my featured pairing and go from there. But Dalton's is a nice, short and sweet one.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy. We both have stuff going on, so we're kind of cutting it short. We're missing Ant tonight. Ant had a family obligation, I believe, for a choir concert for his daughter.
Something
like that. So, Ant, we miss you. We'll see you soon. But Dalton, you know what they say, right? The weekend is good.
But the midweek is always better.
And boom goes the dynamite.